Llama Llama Red Pajama, Dinosaur versus Bedtime, and Harold and the Purple Crayon. Some of you might recognize these stories as they are some of the most popular bedtime stories told to children. These stories are filled with vivid imagery and creative adventures that can entertain any child. However, my parents never told me these stories. Instead, my parents chose to tell me traditional Latin American folklore that used to scare me. My favorite was La Llorona, which in English translates to the Weeping Woman. And long story short, this story does not have a happy ending. Being of Mexican descent, I've been lucky enough to be exposed to different kinds of folklore that has been passed down through many generations. The continuation of this oral tradition is not only culturally important, but it's an important family tradition because it shares the memory and history of those who came before me. So when I was about 7 years old and my younger sister was 5, my parents used to put us to bed around 8 p.m. every day. My parents would tuck us into our matching Winnie the Pooh bed sets, turn off the lights, and plug in the castle-shaped nightlight. Then they would each take a seat on our bed and tell us the very popular story called La Llorona. According to the legend, my mom would say, there lived a beautiful woman named Maria. She married a very wealthy businessman and lived in a grand house by the river and gave birth to 2 boys. The husband spent a lot of time traveling and often ignored his family. One day, he shows up with a younger woman and decides to leave his family. Maria, who is hurt and angry, takes her children out to the river and drowns them. Immediately regretting what she had done, she tries looking for them but is not able to find the bodies. That night, Maria passed away, but she was not allowed to enter the afterlife until she found her children. So she was doomed to spend the rest of eternity between the land of the living and the dead. Some say that at night, in large bodies of water, you can see La Llorona searching and weeping for her children. But don't get too close, my mom would warn me, since she kidnaps wandering children at night, mistaking them for her own, trying to get into the afterlife. So this story is told to children to teach them a variety of lessons, such as don't play near large bodies of water or don't stay out at night. But more than that, the story of La Llorona is a part of Mexican-American culture. It's a way for men and women to teach their children about the history of the culture of the region. In my family, this story is important because it brings our family together. It allows my siblings and I to spend quality time with my parents and connects us to our ancestors. Throughout my childhood, my parents told me the story of La Llorona because it has been passed down through many generations. It's a reminder that although we do not remember the names of our great-great-great-grandparents, we remember the stories they told. Thank you.